Hello, everybody. We're going to try this one more time. Um, we tried it before, and I once again apparently put my headsets on mute when I put them on my head. I don't know why I keep doing this, but there's a little button that's in a very bad spot, and every time I put on my headsets, I'm muting them. So it's not causing any damage or anything? Not like that? So, anyway, today what I wanted to do was I wanted to show you guys uh, Well, I wanted to show you guys a little bit about how I play this game, which is in absolutely no way um, how the game is intended to be played, or it is how the game is intended to be played, but you're supposed to be out doing, missions and shooting stuff and shooting other airplanes down out of the sky or other spaceships out of the sky and, doing all this other bunch of weird stuff. It's all cool stuff. Everything is. Um, and there's a time and a place where you feel like doing this, or you feel like doing that, and that's what you do. For me, after about 2,000 hours in this game, I got a little bit tired of, I got a little bit tired of the same rigmarole, if you will. I've started a lot of saves in this game, a lot. Every expedition that you go through, you have to start another save for it. Every time you want to try something different and with a restart, you got to start again. So over time, it just builds up and builds up. Um, I just found this planet a little bit ago, um, and that's because I recorded like 30 minutes of basically flying across the sky here, doing little more than this right here, just flying. And because that's pretty much what I do, but this is not typically how I fly. Um, when I fly, I like to go here, hit the general, turn off the HUD, apply, and of course it doesn't apply still. And then you go back, and then you drop it down low, and you get rolling. And for me, I pretty much roll this sucker right on the ground, like it's my own personal roller coaster on the ground. Everything is an apparatus, including these. The water is no longer in play. They took it out when they upgraded the water to make it look more realistic, and they added the. Whoa, almost got hit by a freaking meteor. Really? That was odd. And anyway, a couple years ago, when they upgraded things, they made it so you couldn't go or fly upside down over the water. Now that they've added it to make it look more realistic, they apparently don't want you to see. They don't want you to fly low level, skimming the top of the water. I I used to love to do that. That was my, really cool because you drop down and all of a sudden you're not just a spaceship flying across the sky. You're also I don't know, a swamp boat or something. Flying across the freaking top of the water, and I don't know, it kind of felt like you were in a speedboat. Hey, where's he going? Okay, whatever. Civilian force. I like to see what kind of ships they have flying around. One was a fighter, and the other one was explorer. But you're not allowed to go any lower than this. I can fly around nose down, and it won't let me do anything. Even if I came up here Where'd the water go? See, they've made it now so that water looks a lot like land. And then you nose into the water, it won't let you go into the water. Um, Not that you should want to fly directly nose first into the water, but what cool is that you can actually come down from outer space and out of orbit and just fly nose down straight into the water, and the water will actually push you along and turn you around and spin you and then shoot you out. So if you find yourself not, having, or let's say you're having issues coming down out of orbit and hitting the ground on your way down on descent, just point down at water and it'll send you off whichever direction you it seems to want you to go, and you can adjust from there. But honestly, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. There's a billion different ways to do a descent, um, and none of them are wrong. There's no better way or worse way to do it, as long as you get to where you're going, and safely, of course. As for the music that you're hearing in the background, that is AI. Every time you hear a song on any of these planets, it is literally played specifically for you. Um, you may feel like you've heard the song before or the tune, but every time you hear it, it changes. The octaves may be different. Every planet seems to have its own tunes, um, and it changes for everybody. I may be listening to this, whatever this tune is here, um, and somebody else may be listening to something very, very similar, but the octaves will be different. The beats might be different. It won't be the same. It'll always be different. And a lot of what I like to do is just follow along the tree lines, especially if I'm going to record, because I don't think herky jerky is what most people want to look at, because they might get sick just watching you flop around and do a whole bunch of maneuvering and stuff like that. And I'm not into making people sick, but I do want to show some of the things that you can do. These poles here, I don't know what you want to call them, poles. They make for excellent obstacles. Everything is in play. Everything is an apparatus in this game, especially for ships. You look at your mountains here, and it's no different than Earth. As far as land features and stuff like that, you're looking for the nooks and the little crannies and the hills and the structures, and then you're going to fly through them. You're looking for the easiest path and the lowest path to get through. Why? I don't know. Just because. You know, um, it's something to do, and there's a lot of other things. Like flat land structures. They look like big rocks that just like kind of like this one, except they're a lot bigger. Like this one back here with flat tops, and they're really skinnier and long. You can use those to get down really close, and they will give you a very, very temporary speed buff coming off because of the shields and just basic. Actually, honestly, it's kinetics. You go down, and whoof, off you go. This game does have a certain amount of physics that work really well. Uh, I can do this, and it will hit the ground. No, it will. Okay. The shields save me. But you can actually take off and go straight down on the other side of a hill, and then pull up and point the nose at the side of the hill, and it will literally shoot you back up over the top of that hill faster than you could done it yourself. That's a quick way to turn the tables on an enemy that may be behind you, especially if it's an NPC. You just go up, you do a little hook, and then you dive. And I'm going to hit the ground because that's not a hill that you would do that with. But I just wanted to show you the basics of how to make that maneuver before you go over the side of the hill. The ship I'm using today is a Starborn Runner. I got it out of an expedition. It was almost a fun expedition for once, and they're actually going to let me fly close to the water. Really? I wonder how long it's going to be before the game realizes that I'm this low, and it bumps me right back up. Because typically it's not going to let me fly this low. So now I don't even want to leave the water. Ouch. I totally left my wing dip for that. I deserved it. Yep. It just realized it and pushed me back up. I mean, sometimes it feels like you have to earn your right to fly low over water. If you just hit something and crashed, it won't let you do it. But if you've been flying along fairly straight, fairly level, with common sense, it lets you fly over water for a little bit, but not long. Yeah, see. And a couple years ago, we were allowed to actually fly upside down over the water, which, as you can see, the game will autocorrect you and stop you right about there and push you back. We're going to head back towards land. We don't want to get caught out to sea anywhere. I really do like this game. It's a lot of fun for like your first 2, 3, 400 hours, and then you realize that this game has sucked you in so hard that you're not playing anything else. You wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to go and I want to do this and I want to do that in No Man's Sky, and it's easy to get into that routine, and before you realize it, you're so trapped. Well, I mean, I wouldn't go say trapped. You're not trapped. Your your mind thinks that you want to be here all the time, and then your mind says, "This is getting boring." I have done this before. I've done it over and over and over again. It's getting really dull. And then you latch on to certain things that you really like to do in the game, and that's how you wind up doing what I'm doing right now. Some people, they like to build. They'll build. Um, they'll build their favorite places, or well, I'll show you. They build bases, and they take a lot of time. They take a lot of brain power. Um, it's something that they really enjoy doing, and I don't think they get um, the tourism that they deserve. For a lot of what they do. Some of these places are on the anomaly, which we're landing on right now, which was where basically the entire community that's online right now is parking. All right, what's going on here? Can we park? Obviously not. Alright, the game sucked us, and now we're stuck. Can I get out? Nope. I can't do diddly squat. And this is, one of those things. This is one of the oldest problems the game has had in the past, but apparently it's starting again. I'm not sure what causes it. It might just be overloaded parking or whatever. I'm not sure. It's just a weird thing. So let's go ahead and we will. Um, no, that's not what I wanted. Let's go ahead and exit the mode select. Go back. We'll reset this. And I'll show you what I mean in this again in a second. We're gonna play custom. Okay, brings us right back to this planet. Bring up the anomaly again. Maybe this time it'll let us in. Cool, we get to park. And we get somebody to park right on top of us. Where'd they go? I don't know. Pretty odd. Wow, that's cool. I like the color of this. There are a lot of new things that they have implemented into the game. Some of it is putting together your own ship, your own personal type of ship, etc., like that. I I got into it for a little bit, but didn't really like it because I'm not about the armor. I'm not about the weapons. I need the speed and I need the maneuverability. That's what I look for. I don't look to fight. I don't look to save my own skin, and my own shields need to probably be fairly low. Um, I feel like the lower my shields, the better, the lower I can get to the ground. I don't want no shields, obviously, but I don't want my shields to be so high that they're pushing me off the ground to the point that I can't make a mistake. I want to be able to make that mistake. I want to be able to hit the tree. I want to be able to hit a hill on the way by. It betters my own, piloting skills along the way. If I'm treated like a baby and getting pushed up off the planet all the time, and I'm not allowed to hit anything, well, it's no fun, right? So let's do what I like to do when I'm flying. We're gonna go, and these 5 bases, honestly, they've been advertised for 6-7 months now. It's almost like they've stopped building. We're gonna go see this one. How's that? I mean, they're just always on the featured list. There's like nobody builds anything better or new anymore. And if they do, they're just not being featured, which is kind of a shame. And people spend a lot of time, like I said, they put in a lot of time making these bases. And as you can see, there's they got just the right type of critters flying around. Nice little ghost house. And it might not even be a ghost house. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be again. Let's go inside here. And somebody sat for hours, I'm sure, putting all of this together. Figuring out, okay, well, I want to put this here, I want to put that there. I need a teleporter. This right here is change characters, clothes, and all that neat stuff. Outpost. Um, let's have a table with, yeah, see. They spend a lot of time on stuff like this. A lot of brain power. What is the, oh no. Oxygen coming up through it. And here comes another player down there. I'm not going to try to put him on camera. Let's see what's upstairs. Anything? This looks like an old log cabin that a friend of mine used to own when I was a kid. And it's been a while since I've actually played a lot of this, so figuring out what some of this is nah. Capillary shell. No. But I mean, to me, it's not exactly. What is this? And why is it there? Let's just hop down. I prefer not to fly indoors, but they didn't exactly give me a choice there. All right, here's these right here. Probably could have done without. If I'm looking for a view, that's pretty much where I would want it, coming straight out the door, right? And you're blocking your view with trees. Nothing wrong with that, I don't reckon, but just not where I think I would have planned them to be. Not that they did. Where'd it go? Wasn't there a rock there? Just like, what is this? Okay, so we walk through here. We look back. Okay, it didn't go nowhere. And you have people on these particular planets creating, their own bases everywhere. Where is our ship at? Oh, shippy poo. Where out art thou? Oh well, no big deal. Wait, that's water, isn't it? Is it? Yes. It's hard to tell the difference between water and land these days because they've made it so clear. I guess when I logged, it came. No? I'm certain we landed our ship here. But that's okay. We'll just call it back. No big deal. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop the HUD. And we're going to go see what everybody's up to. These are a couple AI spaceships here. One looks like a hauler on top. The bottom's an explorer. And when you turn off your HUD, you don't see other people's bases. So it is quite possible. It's rare. It's hard to do. But you could wind up actually flying directly, well, especially if you fly like I do, you could fly directly over their freaking heads and scare the living daylights out of them because you're flying so freaking low, and you don't even realize that you just flew over them. And if you happen to hit the ground right in front or behind them, they may not hear you. Um, but I promise you, if you hit them, they're going to know something happened. They may not know what, but they're going to know something hit them. And that, hitting somebody on the ground is extremely hard. At least I would think that it is. It's like hitting a needle in a haystack, from 10 yards above. But I think a lot of the land features are extremely predictable, especially after you've flown over these things for around 2,000 hours. You pretty much get a feel for what the land does, and coming over a side of a hill like this, that you're going to have a drop. Oops, my bad. You don't expect a pole like that, but that's some of the surprises that you do get. Is that there's a drop, and then whatever's on the other side is what you have to react to. Like I said, this is about as calm as I fly. I do not fly this calm hardly ever. I'm usually flipping, somersaulting, doing cartwheels across the sky. Um, I'm not a calm flyer. It's how I get my frustration out, and it doesn't make for good video at all. It would make people sick if just doing a simple roll upsets your stomach. Then that is not for you. But like I said, for me, this is my personal ground roller coaster while flying. If that makes any sense at all, probably not, but it is what it is. And sometimes, I've watched a lot of the streamers. Um, I really wish that sometimes they would just cut loose with their ships. You know what I'm saying? Just cut loose. Go for it. Open them up. Show us what they got. Show us what they will and won't do. You know, these things have a ton of maneuverability to them. I mean, an absolute ton. And they fly these things like, I don't know. I'm not gonna talk bad about anybody. It's just they baby them, and you might see them get into a little bit of a spiff or combat here and there, and even then they're trying to keep their audience from getting sick, and I understand that, but that's just not how the game is supposed to be played, or you're supposed to be going all out, but everybody knows that there's not a and an NPC in this game that can bring down an S-class ship. Not unless you just flat out don't know what you're doing or you're AFK. A C-class ship can take on basically an entire um, thing of sentinels. I've done it, and you'll survive. You just need to go off and you need to heal up your ship and come right back. I called it the out and back game. I'd go out and they would follow, and then I'd turn around and we'd play chicken. They'd come at me and I'd shoot at them while they came at me, and I'd take off in the other direction. I'd turn around again and here they come. And we'd just do that until I whittled them all down to nothing. And that's because, a C-class ship, it's the bare bones, bottom basic. You're not going to have much of maneuverability with them. But they're just as deadly as any other ship in the game once you get them upgraded. Maybe a little less, but and they're not going to have the mobility. They're not going to have the higher shields. They're just not. They're kind of like a Yugo compared to say a Hyundai, and or a Hyundai compared to a Ferrari. They're different. So we're just going to fly along nice and steady. No more flippy floppy. Just let y'all kind of enjoy the flight a little bit and the cool music that they throw out there. Come in for an aircraft carrier landing and takeoff. Of course, you can't really dump the pressure under the wings quite the same way you would um, on a real aircraft or even in a real aircraft simulator. But there are ways that you can make it seem like you're dumping pressure, and it causes the sink rate to increase for the aircraft or for the spaceship itself. If anything, I kind of wish the roll was faster, um, more more spontaneous. If I can turn my nose like this at just a flick of a wrist, I mean, I'm just barely touching the mouse, and I can make this thing go from one direction completely to another direction in a heartbeat. You would think that the roll would be just as spontaneous, right? Instead, I feel like I'm flying a Mack truck. It takes. We'll show you. Let's get a little altitude here. Wrap this is good. I don't want to fly over the water, so. Okay, so starting now. That's how long it takes to do one roll. If I use the mouse, I can make it a little faster, but it's more like a split S, and I don't know. It it's not pretty, and it's not smooth. But when you're out here and you're flying over all this land for no reason, seeing the sights, seeing the sunsets and the sunrises and stuff like that, um, usually I'll have the music turned off completely. I don't want to hear the game music. I'm gonna have my own playlist playing, which is typically gonna be well, it could be 80s rock. It could be today's rap. Whatever I'm in the mood for that day, and typically you're gonna make the ship dance to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say you're listening to, I don't know, Snoop Dogg, and you got your own favorite little chicka 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 chicka, right? So you're flying along, and I don't know, somebody comes in and drop it down low, and you're just like, oh yeah, so I'm gonna drop it way down low, and and you try to do your own little rolls, and you know, you slide up the land, and then you slide back down. You try to fit here, you try to fit there. Sorry, I had to do that because honestly, I was gonna nail the ground if I didn't, and that was not gonna be pretty, and it would have been worse than the hit that I did take. That was not a good approach at all, and it was probably a high risk maneuver from the beginning. But that's the fun of this. You pretty much make up your own moves, your own maneuvers, and you figure out what works for you and what doesn't. And then you go fight sentinels, or you can always go fight other players. And I don't do that because other players, they kind of mod things out a little bit, and I don't blame them. Um, these ships are just absolutely too much fun to not mod. Um, but I don't do it. I just don't see the purpose in mods. I like to play games the way they're supposed to be played, or the way they were put out with whatever they put out with them. Um, I'm not saying that I play any game right. I'm just saying that I, I play without mods. I just don't. I just want to play it with what I'm given rather than what I give myself. And their ships are majorly bumped up. I mean, you're talking about ships that can do twice the speed this one does, has twice the maneuverability this one does, um, and then they have the shields and they have the shields and the weapons to go along with it. And I think I forget what they call the process. Save editing, I think is what they call it. They go into the save and then they just put in whatever statistics they won or something. I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how it all works. I know they do a lot of building that way too. I don't mind the building because you're not really competing for buildings, and you're not really. They will brag about it, but you know, look, they still spent a lot of time, a ton of time, building that building, even with their save edits. A ship that doesn't take too long to build up, not through a save edit. You're not really bragging about something that you spent hours and hours and hours to do. You're bragging about something that you basically forced to happen through programming. But that's just my opinion. I'm full of opinions that don't matter. But I mean, you look at it, and a lot of people these days, they don't have time to just sit and play hours and hours and hours. Let me go ahead and land here. I don't know why it gives you that animation of a landing when you're clearly hovering. Well, yeah, the front's not hovering. The front just ate the dirt. Okay, anyway, thanks for stopping by. I just wanted you to see, that this game is not just about going around shooting people or shooting things and doing a mission after a mission after a mission. There is such a thing as an open world, and where you go out and you do your own thing. You don't have to do, anything you don't want to do in this game. It's wide open. Um, you have planets everywhere, and if you want to sit here and build exocraft tracks, racetracks, and that sort of thing, you can do it. I've built several spaceship tracks where you can go and you can actually race your spaceship, and they were horrible, but they were round, or not round, but they were ended. They went from one end and they all came all the way back around in a circle. And I always timed myself to see how long it took me to get around, and that's what I tried to beat. Um, it's kind of hard to build those because you're talking about big barriers and stuff like that. And I'm not going to build barriers for a track. Um, that would be way too many pieces over the amount of land that you're talking about. So I'm talking about these things flying at, say, 400. This one flies 498 as units per second at its highest speed. Um, to give you an idea how far that is, um, let's do a scan. Pow. I can't remember how you mark something that you want to. Never mind, it doesn't matter. Let's just fly out here, and I'll show you. This is 280 units. And we just now got here. Okay. It takes us, let's see, it took us that long to get here, but our ship, which is way down there, can fly that distance in a half a second. And you'll say, well, no kidding, it's a straight line shot, right? Straight as a crow flies. Well, that's true, but it gives you an idea how fast these things actually do go. Okay, and thank you guys for stopping by. I'm going to go ahead and cut it here because the longer I'm on this game, the more I want to start doing flips and flops and going crazy with the ship. It's hard for me not to. I like to do some low level profiles, just following sunsets and that sort of thing. Um, I might do that for you guys one night. Um, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it and you saw something new that maybe you hadn't thought about before. And I'll see you in the next video.